filing a trademark application, it falls into what we call different classes. There are 45 different classes of trademarks, and these classes are determined at international level. So all this means is different types of goods or services fall into each class. So for example, if you're manufacturing clothing, that would be class 25. If you are printing magazines, physical magazines, that would be class 16. And so for every type of goods and service, there is a particular class that you have to nominate when you file your trademark application. However, the more classes you nominate, the more it costs, because the fees are per class and the government adds each fee per class. So it's quite good if you can narrow down the number of classes you need, but within those classes get the best and broadest possible protection. So for example, clothing, if you were only manufacturing t-shirts, my recommendation would be when you file your trademark application, you don't only claim for t-shirts, because you might want to go into jeans later on, or shorts, or activewear, or something else. So t-shirts is a very narrow specification. And remember, you're paying for class 25 anyway, so you might as well include other things. So you might look on the trademarks register and see somebody who's registered clothing, namely, t-shirts. That also is very limited, because that still just means t-shirts. But if you do clothing including t-shirts, that means now you're covered for all clothing, including t-shirts. And with the clothing class, you can go even further. You can include footwear and headgear. Who knows, you might want to do hats later. And so what I do for my clients when I decide what to include in the specification or the list of goods or services, I look at my over 20 years experience of obtaining trademarks for my clients, and I can see a trajectory of many businesses are similar. So if you're a clothing business, you have a similar trajectory. Business coaches have a similar trajectory. There's different types of businesses, and I'm pretty good at anticipating what some of them might do in the future, either expanding or going into different avenues. And so within that class, I broaden what they might be claiming for. So let me give you an example. So I have a client who just wanted to manufacture or publish online books. That's all she wanted to do. So that's class 9. But I said to her, I can see this book is amazing, and in the future you might also want to publish, for example, apps, cell phone applications. You might also want to do online training courses under the same brand. And so instead of, if she had filed it herself, she would have just gone for the electronic books. But at the end, she had quite a long list of things that she could perhaps go into if she wanted. So she increased her protection and got better bang for her buck. Now, what happens if you're on a limited budget? Now, I mentioned electronic books, and this is a question that people often ask me. Writing books now is popular, and so people often ask, if I write a book, which class should I register my trademark in? Well, it depends, because your trademark protection overlaps into different classes. And if you're thinking of traditional books, it would be class 16, because that's paper printed products. But if you're thinking of electronic books, that would be class 9, because that's the electronic goods. And if the person's on a limited budget, when it comes to the decision between books and electronic books, I always say go for the electronic class, because it covers more things. It covers electronic things such as apps and online courses, things like that, which your paper publication class will not cover. And there's about an 80% chance or overlap from electronic books to paper books anyway. So again, it gives you more bang for your buck by selecting not only the one that your goods and services fall into, but the one that gives you the broadest possible protection. So remember, classes, that's class from 1 to 45. And within those classes, you have to actually specify what goods or what services you're wanting to protect with your trademark. Good luck with your trademark. My name is Catherine Warburton, and I am the Legal Lioness.